Hi, Mark Gilbert here. Thanks for clicking in. For the next few minutes, we're going to be offering Spiritual Journey for Beginners, a quick lesson. Like all our videos, they offer you tools and ideas to assist to our spiritual evolution. I hope you find this beneficial, and if you do, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It lets YouTube know that you like what we're doing here. You know, I've done a lot of videos about the spiritual journey, and you can see the link below for at least one or two of them that I've done. But in this particular video, what I'd like to do is get back to the basics, get back to the essential things that we need to consider in regards to how we might be on a particular spiritual journey. What I'd like you to imagine for just a few minutes is a timeline. And we've all seen timelines, you know, they go in from left to right, from the past and into the future. And I want you to visualize your life as being a timeline. And the timeline started when you came into physical form in this particular life. So whoever you are and what your name is, or your parents were, etc., at the point that you were given birth to, that's the beginning of your timeline. And then all of your experiences from all of your past, which includes all of your memories and your thoughts and the events of your life that you've led up into this particular moment, are on the left-hand side of the timeline, in the past side of the timeline. But you also visualize that your line continues on into the future, that there is this future arc to it, and somewhere out there in the distance is the end of this physical form, and you'll transition from this lifetime into nothing or into something, depending upon, you know, what you believe. So you can visualize that. And what we can see is that we're moving from this past into the future on this timeline, and that we can sense that we're on a journey, that there are memories and events and things that have happened that have changed us, that we're not the person that we were earlier in our life. We've learned things, we've grown, we've become different, that there has been a particular path that we have gone through that has allowed us to learn certain lessons in life and to change and to become the person that we currently are in this moment. So we can sort of see that past path progressing, and we can imagine the future, and that we're going to continue to grow and to expand and to become something even hopefully greater and grander. Now, you got that visualized in your mind? What we might consider is that if we just simply look at that timeline, that path and those experiences and that degree of growth could be considered our spiritual journey, especially if we thought that that lifetime, or this particular lifetime as this physical form, is all that exists. If our belief structure is such that I was born and I'm going to die, and these are my events that are occurring during my lifetime, and that's my path, and nothing exists outside of that, then if that's my belief structure, I could look at that as being my spiritual path, the path of my lifetime. But what I want us to consider is that something in us, especially a certain aspect of our spiritual growth, we tend to recognize that life is not just simply about this particular form and its events and the growth of this physical body and its changes through the lifespans and its potential aging, and it's not just our thoughts as we go along through this lifetime, but there is something, if we can step off the timeline and look down upon it, we can recognize that there is something beyond the individual life, that maybe we existed before the timeline began and that will exist after the timeline ends. And so that this finite lifetime as this particular individual is one experience, but the experience and the total truth of who we are extends beyond that, that we were eternal in the sense that we existed before and after, that we exist outside of the time frames of time, that there is something in us that exists off the timeline itself. And if we can look at that from a broader standpoint, if we can stand back and say, okay, yeah, we're finite in this lifetime, but we're much bigger than that, and that we're beyond the time constraints of that. And there is an arc of greater time and greater experiences that exist beyond this particular lifetime, that the path of that journey that's even greater than this individual life is truly the spiritual path that we're on. And so when we talk about the spiritual life for beginners, for people beginning to think about that, one of the first things we need to really consider is that essence of our nature that exist outside the physical form of this one lifetime, and how we're on this path and journey for maybe multiple lifetimes, or in an essence beyond the physical life on this planet Earth. So if we can visualize our life as being bigger than this individual lifetime and extending beyond the timeline of this life, it raises a number of questions for us as an individual. It raises questions such as, well, what is the meaning of all of this? What is the meaning of life? Why do we exist? What happens before birth? What happens after death? How does our life continue onward? What is the arc of growth of this individual soul and the journey that we appear to be on as this larger soul beyond this one lifetime? And how does our soul and its growth and development relate to the soul and development of other people that I bump into in this lifetime? If we're all on these individual spiritual journeys as individuals, how do we relate to one another? And what is the commonality and growth that's occurring through all of us? Now, I've got a particular perspective on this topic, and I've answered a lot of those greater, grander questions in other videos, at least from what I've come to believe about life. And if they benefit you, that's great. But each of us has to answer those questions for ourselves and to come to conclusions about what's true for each of us. So view those videos. There's links at the end of this one, and some may be going across the bottom of the screen. But the key essence of what I want you to get out of this particular video, and what is really truly a spiritual path for beginners, a particular understanding of the spiritual path, is to recognize that the path that you're on is bigger than this particular lifetime. That you extend beyond that timeline of this life. And in that, you're called to let go of the drama of the events of this individual life and see your life from a bigger perspective. And in so doing, to step back and ask these larger and bigger questions of meaning. And then to seek out answers from teachers, and to become a teacher yourself in terms of answering these questions for other people. The spiritual path that we're all on is an individual path. I believe that all of our paths may lead to the ultimate same destination, but the way in which we walk them and the way in which we answer the questions are unique and individual to each of us. So I'm not here with any kind of dogmatic answers other than to open your eyes to the fact that you are on this bigger and grander path, and for you to begin seeking the answers that give meaning to you in your life. So what do you think about the spiritual path, and what are the answers that have come up for you that you think are meaningful? Feel free to drop me a comment in the boxes below. And if you've got a question for other videos you'd like to see me do, be sure to drop me an email. The email address for that is on the screen. I hope this has been beneficial, and thanks for watching. Till next time. Hey, one more quick thing. I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. The link is down there on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Also, there's a related video you might want to watch. It's right next to my face. And if you like this video, be sure to click like and leave me a comment on YouTube. Thanks.